RDTDaily.com presents a Tarabuster with comedian Tara Devlin.
Hello. I gotta get that VO redone. There's no more RDT Daily, so it's a little confusing. Hello, my name is Tara Devlin. What's going on? This is unapologetic liberal talk on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. We meet here every Friday night at 8:30-ish p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or Eastern Time. I always say Standard Time, and then somebody told me I was saying it wrong. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Hal said he's gonna raid the show later, so we'll probably get more of the sparklers in the chat, and that's been fun. So let's see. And thank you, Charlie from APS Radio News, for everything you do to keep the show going and growing. How's it looking? How's it sounding? Let me see. Okay, it sounds all right? All right. I wanted to start a little early because I wanted to check to see that everything was functioning, because the YouTubes changed their settings again, and it's a little confusing. I don't know. Last week I had trouble connecting, but this week I lucked out and it worked. All right. And plus I wanted to get started because I'm a little irritated. I'm telling you, this is how I walk around nowadays, with a knot in my stomach. I don't know about you, but I have to watch my blood pressure. You guys know I have high blood pressure. I take blood pressure medicine, and I monitor my blood pressure. I didn't take my blood pressure medicine today. I should have, but it's and I really need to monitor it, because nowadays you can't be too careful. And the thing is, when I heard that Ace Frehley died, and then a few weeks or days earlier, Diane Keaton passed away. What strikes me when I hear things like that is that, what a shame. They won't be around to see Trump's downfall and the downfall of the Republican Party. I'm pretty much looking forward to that. And that's keeping me going. Not that I plan on going anywhere anytime soon, but when I'm really down, I think about that great getting up morning and the fact that this will happen. We will watch the end of the Republican Party, and we really are witnessing it right now. When I was on Hal Sparks' show earlier today, I was thinking, and we were talking about this, but we were talking about the the Nazis, the rise of the Nazis. I don't know exactly how we were, how it was all weaving in, but I think about that, the 12 years, because this is something that Goring said during the Nuremberg trials. It was reported that he said something about how they cheered for 12 years. And I think about that sometimes, because I think about what it must have been like for people in the 6th year of that horror, that hell. And, and a lot of people didn't make it, of course. But it seems almost inevitable now when you look back. But it wasn't at the time, that's for sure, especially in the beginning, when Hitler was having a lot of success conquering other nations, and the conservative power structure in those nations were rolling over for him one at a time, just like Mike Johnson and the Republican Party rolled over for Trump, and the big business masters of the universe capitulated to Trump. The higher institutions of learning, right? So Columbia capitulated. The Apple, all these other businesses, Amazon, the people that you would think have FU money, right? You would think that they could stand up, and that's all they had to do. But I don't know if you are noticing, but it seems to me that there is a change upon us, that people are starting to resist. And I think that there will be a tipping point where all of the capitulators, they're not going to look well in history's light. And we better not forget who they were and who they are. We can't forget their names, because and they won't be forgiven. They can't be forgiven. These are people who they're not patriots. They really don't give a shit about this country. They don't care about the people in it. And they should not be excused for the part that they played in trying to destroy the American experiment. Shame on them all, especially people like Mark Zuckerberg. I mean, all of these people. You have enough money to last you how many lifetimes? You couldn't spend it. Your family couldn't spend it in 100 lifetimes, but still, it's not enough for you, right? You scumbag. I can't. I mean, just thinking about that clip of Zuckerberg in the Oval Office, thinking he's not being recorded, but telling Trader Trump that. What did he say? Oh, I wasn't sure what number you wanted me to say when he said there's going to be so much investment and all this other bullshit we should all be happy about. And, I mean, if it's the truth, why would you have to make up a number? But we know everything's a grift. And one of the things that's why I wanted to start early, too, is that I'm sure you saw Trader Trump pardoned or commuted the sentence of George Santos. Poor baby George Santos. He said he was treated so unfairly. And I'm so sick of listening to whiny criminal bitches go on about how unfair everything is to them. Okay, we'll get into it. And before I continue, I just want to say thank you, Charlie from APS Radio News, for keeping the show going and growing. Check out APS Radio News, because if it's not just news, they have classical music. If you're into, this is something you could put on all day. Just keep it on as the background music to your life. If you're, we all need to take a break now and then, and just tune out and listen to some classical music. There's a classic rock and oldies station. I know people love that too. And that's the soundtrack of your memories, as the saying goes. And so check that out at APS Radio News. There's also me. I'm also there. And the other independent liberal, or not just liberal, but independent voices. This is Charlie. This is what he does. He's a good guy, and he is contributing positively to the world. He's also helps take care of some community cats, and that's the kind of heart we need. More people like that, for real. And honestly, like I always say, if we weren't battling fascism, that's what I would be spending my time, rescuing animals, something like that. That's what I would rather be doing than fighting fascism. And but that's what when our forebearers sacrificed their lives, fought, bled, and died to create and entrust this grand experiment in liberal democracy to us. That's what they were hoping for our futures. Even if they couldn't have it for themselves, they were hoping that they were creating a society, a country where we could, enjoy the just being human, this blip of time that we share together, that you didn't have to scrape and struggle and constantly, live on the edge while your betters rode you to the bank, which was the system the founders rebelled against. So, in all their flaws and there are many, and hypocrisies, that's the country they created. That's the blueprint, inspired from the liberal age of enlightenment. And the more that we expand the franchise to not just rich white men, that's when Republicans want to throw the whole fucking thing out the window. And yeah, and this is where we are. Because they're lazy, too. That's the other thing. Trump and the rest of the Republicans, they're not good at not just governing. I mean, they're not good at business. Trump sucks at business. And this is what we were talking about on Hal's show earlier, on Hal Sparks' show. That Trump he sucks at business. He's a horrible person and who doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. He was born on third base thinking he hit a triple, and oh my God, here comes the Sparks raid. Is it really coming? Oh my God. It's like just in time for the commercial. Hold on, guys. We'll be back. This is Tara Devlin, unapologetic liberal talk on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy. All right. Yes, all right. Nice to see everybody. Here comes the Sparks raid. Is this real? Is it real? Can I pinch myself? All right. And if you guys can, do me a favor. Please subscribe to my Substack. I'm trying to get the Substack up in the numbers. I'm trying to get this YouTube channel up in the numbers. And Hal is really helping do that with the raids and having me on his show and everything. So that's been helping a lot. But I want to get my Substack up. I don't know. It needs to be a respectable number. And if you can't do the, a paid subscription, there's a free subscription there too. So I'm almost to 1,000 subs. It's really kind of not what's the word? It's like right there on the precipice. So it's a little frustrating. It's like, come on, man. And you know what happened? I posted a meme of Patriot Attorney General Letitia James saying, "I stand with Letitia James," and it went viral. There was, I'm trying to look at see the exact numbers. There was so many people shared it. I'm talking like 50,000 shares or something like that. And I got and it, I thought to myself, oh wow, this is really gonna boost the numbers, but it didn't really, maybe I got like 100 people subscribing, which is good, but out of 50,000, it's enough to make you wanna, I don't know. You know what it is? It's just that there's wherever you go, people are asking you to do things, subscribe, or this or that. So it gets a little daunting, and I get it. I get the same messages too, but I do appreciate everything for that you guys do to keep the show going and growing. And yeah, let's get into it now. Let's talk about George Santos. I just cannot believe. Well, I can believe. What am I talking about? This is the swill of the Republican Party. The Republican Party is a rotting corpse, a zombie rotting corpse that's eating the brains of the American people. If one good thing comes out of this time, it's that we wake up to the fact that we're in this together. The Republican Party is a selfish, greed-centered, kiss-up, kick-down death cult. Prove me wrong. And they are a grifter party. They have nothing to offer the American people. That's why they're good at branding. They're good at bullshitting. They understand this. This is exactly what the Nazis knew. You can't come right out and tell people, we're going to put you in death camps. Not you in death camps. Well, some of the Germans liked the death camps, of course, like the masters of industry. They liked the slave labor. It worked out well, worked out beneficial to them. The people in some people, they weren't the ones hiding their neighbors in the attic. These were the ones that were looting their apartments the minute they were dragged away in the middle of the night. So, shame on them. But, the thing is that the Republican Party is, this is the thing I wanted, the topics for tonight. The Republican Party is a party of grifters, okay? And I've been saying it for years. Everything that they have is bullshit. They offer nothing to the American people, and they are a party of, they're a scam. It's a scam, from tax cuts pay for themselves to trickle down. Everything that they peddle is a scam. They have never had real solutions for the American people, and that's why this time will be remembered as the new gilded age of grifters, gaslighting, and greed. So when Donald Trump, when the thing came across my phone, the notification that Traitor Trump commuted the sentence of this con man, George Santos, I, of course, was sick to my stomach, but why am I surprised? The party of grifters, of course, eventually they are gonna have an outright con man as a standard bearer. It goes without saying. It's a natural progression of who they are. They have never had anything to offer the American people, as evidenced by the fact that wherever they're in power, the people suffer. They offer nothing, and I mean less than nothing. It would probably be an improvement if they had simply nothing to offer. They offer misery and pain and division. That's what they do. I think it would be a step up if they would simply offer nothing. So, but George Santos, I'm trying to find this. Let's see. Is here's the charges that he was convicted of. Now, he was kicked out of Congress. You know what it takes for Republicans to vote against another Republican? And you know how long we had to endure George Santos because they wanted his vote for their slim margins. And because they have no fucking integrity. They have no integrity. They don't care that he's an outright con man. They didn't care. They wanted, it's a transactional relationship. And it's not about serving the constituents of district whatever he was. I don't remember, which district he was supposedly representing. But this is why he was convicted. He pled guilty. He went to a grand jury. All of the charges was just like Trump, had to be presented to a grand jury. Then it went to trial, went to the whole process of hearing the case, him presenting a defense, and the jury of his peers convicted him of, here's the charges: conspiracy to commit offenses against the United States. What else is new with Republicans? That's something that Trump was charged with too. Conspiracy against the United States. George Santos was also charged with multiple counts of wire fraud, multiple counts of identity theft, theft of public funds, money laundering, access device fraud, and that is another way of saying credit card fraud. This is a dirtbag. And we went through, when he was in Congress, we talked about him a lot. We went through many episodes of Tarabuster going through his crimes. He's a crook. Even before he got to Congress, that was his job, was being a con man, being a squatter, stiffing people, being somebody that didn't pay his rent, was constantly being hounded by creditors. But there he was, saying he was what did he call himself? A financier. He's a financier. You know what a financier is? That's like Jeffrey Epstein, a financier. Or who else is a financier? I guess George Soros is a financier. You give money to investments and whatnot. Hold on a second. This is Tara Devlin. Be right back. Hold on. Did we get raided by Hal? Oh my God! Hey guys, we got raided when I wasn't looking. Oh my God! It's so exciting. Thank you, Hal. Thank you, Sparklers. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for joining on Friday nights. It's so much, it's so nice to have, the Sparklers here. Thank you. And the Substack crew. Thank you, guys, on Substack. I'll try to, I have to learn. I got to ask Hal, actually. He should tell me. He's really good at this. He has all the bells and whistles, but I think there's a way I can combine the chats somehow. I gotta ask him about that. So, all right. So, okay, where was we? At George Santos, the grifter. Okay, he was also charged. These are the charges. Charges. Where was I? Money laundering, access device fraud. That's credit card fraud. Making false statements to Congress. Falsification of records and documents, including to the FEC, of course, because he was, if anybody's stupid enough to give him money, to give this con man money for his campaign, then they might as well have just put it in the shredder. And the reason is that here's the other thing that I'm thinking in my mind now that I'm talking about this. I can picture this Republican, I can't remember who it was, though, on the floor of the House when they were debating kicking this con man out of Congress. And this Republican got up there and said that George Santos had taken his mother's, this Republican representative's mother's credit card number and was robbing this Republican, his colleague's mother's credit card. Can you fucking believe this? But first of all, why? Why are you giving George Santos your mother's credit card? I'm not trying to blame the victim here, but this is who they are, though. This is who they are. So, okay, what else? Three charges stemmed from schemes where Santos stole the identities and credit card details of donors. He repeatedly charged their credit cards without permission. That's exactly what Trump did. That is, a mirror image of Trump. Trump took people's credit cards and then repeatedly charged them when they donated to his scammy campaign. We know this, and he dinged them constantly until they woke up, and it was hard for them to actually they couldn't get their money back, I would imagine. I'm sure that's, but that's par for the course with the Republicans, with Trump especially, because you were supposed to check. Instead of making the check mark, it was what is that? If it's a repeated, they would repeatedly charge you if you, it was a deliberate opt-out. That's what I'm trying to say. And just meaning, you were already opted in to repeated donations. And somewhere on the scammy website was the little checkbox that you had to click if you didn't want to be repeatedly charged. It's there's never enough. The other thing with Trump, when I think about how much it's never enough for this piece of shit, but he's 80 years old. How much more do you need? You can't take it with you, baboon. That's how we know, and I don't mean to insult baboons, but that's how we know this is a sickness. This is, it's a sickness that this country is suffering under, a very sick person. And this is one thing we were talking about earlier with Hal and I were talking about the sickness that our country is enduring. We have a national PTSD, there's no doubt, but it's like a national dysfunctional family enabling a con man. We are enabling this. Somewhere along the line, we could have stopped this so many times, of course, but there should be a point where we could stop it legally and peacefully. But I think that the founders put these mechanisms in there, but you have to have an agreement, though, with a Congress like the one that Mike Johnson is supposedly ahead of. Nothing's going to happen. But there should be mechanisms to allow the sanity to break through. But I guess the founders, if all of the safe gaps don't hold, you have the 25th Amendment, you have impeachment, you have these things. But if the Republican Party is devoid of decency or shame, then what hope do you have? The last hope we have in this country to stop our slide, and it's not a slide to authoritarianism. We're here. So I guess saying slide to authoritarianism is a bit more comforting, but we're here. We're not. It's not. Yeah, there's no death camps. I remember for years that. Remember that Godwin's law bullshit? That whenever supposedly it was this internet thing that if you mentioned Nazis, you automatically lost the argument. That was the Godwin's law, which was so irritating to me. Along the way, when this was back to George W. Bush, because I was. And people like me and Mike Malloy and Robin Kincaid, we would talk about this. In every Republican chest beats the heart of fascism. We would say, this is, leading there. That, when they talk about the unitary executive, what are they talking about? They're talking about a king. They're talking about a dictator. So, of course, when they pass laws like the Patriot Act, when they're torturing people against the Geneva Conventions and every other convention of decency and democracy, when they shame this country incessantly, and then at the time they were going after gay people, George W. Bush, I remember being gay myself, just watching as he in the Rose Garden made the announcement that they're going to try to pass a constitutional amendment making marriage a sacred bond between a man and a woman. And just, for the first time in American history, listening to Republicans try to enshrine hate into the Constitution, trying to take away rights from people. And, saying things, talking to Mike Malloy, talking to Robin Kincaid and listening, Mike Malloy's radio show and whatnot, saying, this is fascism. This is where we're headed. In every Republican chest beats the heart of fascism. This is who they are. They hate democracy. They don't like it. They can only abide it to a point. And they give it lip service. Now they don't even give it lip service anymore. Now the freaks are running the the freak show here. They are, and we look back on George W. Bush with some kind of nostalgia for at least a semblance of normalcy. I highly doubt that George W. Bush would have pardoned somebody like George Santos, or that a George Santos would have lasted as long as he did in Congress as soon as his scams were exposed. They probably would have gotten rid of him, of course, or he would have had some kind of shaming where he resigned. The public shaming would have been enough, and the House of Representatives at the time was run by Kevin McCarthy. He would have told him to resign. They would have taken all of his committee assignments, which I think they started to do that in the beginning, if I'm remembering. I mean, it seems like a million years ago. But he kept him on his committees because he needed him. He needed his vote. It's just, they're all disgusting. And Kevin McCarthy they're all disgusting. He's going out now, doing a rehab tour, as all the Republicans will do one day, right? The ones, they'll like Caroline Leavitt, and they'll all get out there and do the mea culpa tour at one time. You know it. That day will come, but we can't let them off the hook. So here's some. Let's continue with George Santos. Oh my, there's the music. Hold on, guys. This is Tara Devlin. Thank you for hanging out. Unapologetic liberal talk. We'll be right back. And if you guys can, please subscribe to my Substack. Even if you don't have to do it for money, you can do it for free. Where is it? I'm just trying to get the link. Of course, if you have money, I mean, some of us have it like that. I know everywhere you turn, people are asking you for money. That's what I love. Substack, I got to tell you, Substack is really good. There's standards. It's like Twitter, the way it used to be, but then it has so many other features. There are some maggots on there, I have to say. And you know what they like doing? There was a maggot on there. I blocked him eventually. I got sick of it. I'm trying to remember his name now that I blocked him. On his profile, it said, "I'm the famous shut up, R word for developmentally disabled people. Shut up, R word." This is what he was saying to me every time I would post something. Shut up, R word. Imagine being known for being, or at least calling yourself I'm the famous shut up R word guy, and that's your claim to fame. But of course, they hide behind the veil of anonymity. And then today there was some other maggot on there going on about how just saying gay slurs and things. This is who they are. And we'll get to that. We'll get to the Republican, the so-called young Republicans that aren't that young, 30-year-olds. I don't know. 30-year-old is, you're a grown-ass adult. You should know better. You think, right? But let's get back to George Santos for a second. He falsified campaign finance reports to qualify for National Party support and reported fake loans to boost his campaign's apparent fundraising. This is just exactly like Trump did. He's a grifter. He inflated the size of his apartment for loan purposes, and then it would mysteriously shrink when he had to pay his taxes. Trump is a filthy fascist tax cheat. Of course, that's what Letitia James got him on one of the charges. And, birds of a feather. He also laundered campaign donations into his personal accounts and used the funds for his own benefit, of course, including Botox. If you can remember, he was constantly posting pictures of himself getting Botox and videos. The corruption is right out in the open. This is who they are. I just have to reiterate this. They're a party of cons. This is a con party. They are grifters. He collected at least $25,000 in fraudulent unemployment benefits while he was gainfully employed, including employed in Congress. You see who these scums are? He lied to Congress and the FEC about his campaign finances and personal background. Of course, we know that. He was a famous volleyball star. What else? He graduated from Columbia. He went to all the best schools everything is a con, because this is exactly what the Republicans are doing to the country. That's why they want to destroy democracy, because it's easier to steal that way. It takes work to build coalitions, to go out and knock on doors and get your constituents to agree with your plans. It takes work to build, to work in a democracy, to build your platform, to convince the voters that you have their best interests and your policies work, right? That takes work. They don't have the time for this. They're too lazy. They just want to steal without you or me or anybody having the ability to do anything about it. And they certainly don't want to hear our moaning about it. That's why they're pissed off about no kings, and they're terrified about it too. That's why they have to call it the Hate America rally, when in reality, as we know, there's nothing more American than no kings. But Republican, this is who they are. Here, I just want to play this clip. Hold on a second. Where is my... Hold on. I got a lot of windows open. Hide that. Yeah, here we go. Mike Johnson. Isn't he an embarrassment to himself? You would think. How does he stand in front of the press and say the things that come out of his mouth? And then call himself a Christian too. That's the other thing. I guess is Christianity based on monitoring the masturbation habits of your son? Is that as far as Christianity goes nowadays? Here we go.
They have their day.
Oh, shut your mouth. Listen to him.
They have their day coming up. I hear very few people are going to be there.
Yes, very few people, right? It's just going to be the largest protest in American history. I hear very few people. Are people tired of the lies? Listening to the whining all the time. Like when he said that Joe Biden's FBI were in the crowd on January 6th. They're responsible for January 6th, for the riot, for the insurrection. It was Joe Biden's FBI, even though Joe Biden was a civilian at the time. So, I mean, it's just tedious. It's like having a sociopathic child. You're sick of the excuses. If you had a child like this, you would put them in timeout. You would work your ass off to correct them before they grew into a grown-ass adult that can actually do some damage. But it's just the constant whining and bitching and moaning and blaming and finger-pointing. Don't you think he would get sick of himself? But no. But that's all. He's a one-trick pony, of course. It's not, and that's why I don't understand why anybody voted for him or supports him still. It's beyond reason at this point.
But they have their day coming up, and they want to have their day in the sun.
They're going to descend on our capital for their much-anticipated so-called No Kings rally. We refer to it by its more accurate description, the Hate America rally. You're going to bring together the Marxists, the socialists, the Antifa advocates, the anarchists, and the pro-Hamas wing of the far-left Democrat Party.
See, okay, as you know, I'm so sick of this. The Democrat Party thing. There they go again. Of course, no one on the mainstream media ever comes back and says, of course, there is no Democrat Party. It's the Democratic Party. And there is yet another example of the fact that Republicans have nothing to offer. They're a scam party. They're a party of grifters that make shit up. We have very real problems in this country. We have income disparity, upward immobility. We used to be the most upwardly mobile. Now we're the least, thanks to Reaganomics. We used to have the slightest income gap. Now we have the widest income gap. I know. Melissa on the chat is like, no, we hate Trump. I know. When you play him, I just want to gouge out my ears. Oh, my God. It's so beyond human endurance. Haven't we suffered enough? But I guess we haven't. That's what I wonder. We have a lot of work to do. We have our work cut out for us, but the work of really making a functioning country that works for all. I hope this time is America hitting bottom. It has to be. Otherwise, we're done. We really are. One thing we could say that Trump, he has shown us where all the cracks are. And we have to have the courage to do something about them, to fix those cracks, to shore them up. So another baboon, no offense to baboons, ever tries to be a king again. And this is the thing with, he's like the Democrat Party is having their Hate America rally when the Article 1 guy, as Mike Johnson calls himself, I'm, the real Article 1 guy. You know me. I believe in Article 1. I'm not an Article 1 guy, except he is a lick spittle of a con man who has completely abdicated his role in the Congress. I mean, there's really no reason for him. He is a redundancy at this point. He should resign, but he has no decency. He has no integrity. And all he is a rubber stamp for a con man. Hold on a second. And he's going to go down in history as this. And also, let's not forget, all of the bullshit we're witnessing is because Trump is in the Epstein files. And Mike Johnson is protecting pedophiles. Bottom line, let's not lose focus of that. That's the truth. Trump raped underage girls. Katie Johnson's testimony under oath, her deposition, described how Trump was gifted to underage girls from Jeffrey Epstein. And of course, Trump is a dirtbag. You think Trump would be like, I can't do this. This is wrong. This is rape. Of course not, because we're not human to them. Just like Ghislaine Maxwell said in the documentary when her friend asked, what the hell are you doing? Getting young girls for this pedophile. And she said, they are trash. That was her response. That's how they think about us. We are trash. All you got to do is look at that birthday book to see exactly how they view other people, human beings. We're just nothing. We're commodities. We're playthings, just bodies. As Trump's birthday image that he contributed to that birthday book, that sickening, that drawing of a headless, armless torso. Sick. An underdeveloped, headless, armless torso. What Trump calls wonderful secrets. He's in the Epstein files. So that's why they have shut down government. That's why he pardoned George Santos. That's what this real Article 1 guy is doing everything in his power, not to help the American people, not to hold pedophiles to account, but to let the pedophile off the hook. Let all of the pedophiles off the hook. There's many pedophiles in there, not just Trump. Trump is scum. Really. And we will get to the day when those who supported Trump will only speak of it in shamed whispers. I've been saying it for years. We were talking about it earlier with Hal. That day's going to come, just like it happened at the end of World War II. And then there'll be all the backpedaling. Exactly. And Karen on the chat says it's all about blackmail. Exactly. They're being blackmailed. There are very wealthy Republican donors all in the Epstein files. Trump is in there, their standard bearer. He just didn't think, I guess when he was out there, playing the QAnon shaman, that I guess he thought he could control that Frankenstein monster he was unleashing. So, yeah, but the maggots aren't letting this go. I wonder what will happen to perjury Trader Green. That's what's so interesting. I never thought I would see the day that I was like, yeah, I agree with perjury Trader Green, but she's another one, though, because she's, another one who sees the light because something affects her directly. Her kids, her adult children, are going to have trouble paying for health insurance. So now she wants the ACA tax credits that she voted against to be reinstated. And, this goes to show you, this is what Republicans are. They are a cult. They don't know what the hell they're voting on, of course. And they just fall in line. They're not there to help their constituents. If they were, the big, ugly bill would never have passed. They're there to destroy democracy. But for Mike Johnson to say the Democrat Party is having a hate America rally, it's Antifa, it's Hamas, it's all this bullshit. It's another lie. That's all they have. They're just, instead of, why don't you just meet your opponents fairly and squarely on the field of ideas, right? I know, funny. Why don't you just say, yeah, they're having a no kings rally because they think Trump is a king. Trump's not a king. Why don't you just, assure the American people, well, he's not a king because of this, that, and the other thing. I'm a real Article 1 guy. But they have to lie because they got nothing. And it just shows you, well, what they have is an assault on democracy. They are the domestic enemies the founders warned us about. And Bald Thanos says, Tara, what do you think about the group, the log cabin Republicans? Well, I mean, they're very pathetic, self-loathing Republicans who I don't understand it. It's like Jews voting for Hitler, of course, and that happened too. There's that documentary called I can never remember the name of it. It's a great documentary about, somebody on the chat will have to remind me. It's called it's one word. God, I gotta look it up. But it goes through contemporaneous accounts of the Third Reich. It goes from when Hitler was just a gleam in the eyes of, the fascists, and goes to the downfall. It goes over, decades of time, but it uses contemporaneous accounts. And, because we forget, if those who don't study history, as I'm interested in history and I do it as a hobby, of course, but, the Nazis, of course, tried the coup route, and then they tried the inside game where they won seats in the Reichstag, they lost seats in the Reichstag, and this went on for over 10 years before they actually got real power. And so, yeah, I don't know. Where were we going with this? The fact is, let's just get back to what the Republicans are up to. But they hate America. Everything is a confession or a projection, of course. They hate this country. Not only do they hate America, they're confused by America. That's why they hate America. They like the branding of America. They like the stars, the eagles, but they just hate the constitutionally limited democratic republic, nation of laws. They hate the nation of immigrants. They hate e pluribus unum. They hate that the founders are students of the liberal age of enlightenment. That's why they, they rewrite history. They say that America was founded on Judeo-Christian values, which is bullshit. America was not founded on Judeo-Christian values. It was founded as the antidote to the intergenerational aristocracy. It was inspired by they were students of their time. It was inspired by the Enlightenment. And, but that's what the Republicans don't like. They don't want a country where people are equal, where e pluribus unum, where everyone has a seat at the table, right? They hate that. They want to go back to the system that the founders overthrew. Yes, what is the name of the documentary? It's called somebody on the chat, can somebody find it? It's really going to bother me. It's one word, oh, God, it's on the tip of my tongue. I'm going to look it up. Let me see. I'm going to ask the AI, what is the name of the well, I guess it's the Nazi documentary. Or, no, I guess the documentary that it's like Abyss. Maybe, yeah, I think that could be it. Abyss? The Abyss? Abyss. I'm looking it up. Nazi documentary. It's really, if you don't know much about the Third Reich, this is the documentary to watch. Because it's really accurate. Yes, that's what it's called. The Abyss. The Abyss. The Rise and Fall of the Nazis. It's great. It's a great documentary. But it's the stuff of nightmares also. But it's, because here's the thing, because my father was a history buff. So I guess that's where I get it from. And he was a real armchair historian of Nazi Germany. And when I was a kid, we were constantly watching documentaries together about the Nazis and the Third Reich and whatnot. And I just never thought that we'd be, fighting fascism. That's what's so tragic, because my young mind, I remember thinking how, fortunate I felt living in a country that was normal or semi-normal. I remember when I was a kid thinking, I'm glad we are the good guys. And, of course, that was with my limited knowledge of, the complexity of history. But I always remembered thinking, wow, I'm glad we were the good guys then, right? In World War II. And there were so many, and that's because of the leadership, the fish rots from the head down. We had FDR, and so that's why we didn't torture the our prisoners of war. In fact, I remember when the Republicans back with George W. Bush, when they started torturing prisoners, torturing the torture of Abu Ghraib and whatnot, and of course, some former interrogators from World War II came out saying that they got more actionable intelligence through playing chess with their captives than they ever would torturing them. So it makes sense, of course, because people will say anything to get the torture to stop. And what happened with the Nazis who we had in captivity, many of them, they saw the decency of America. A lot of them actually ended up staying here. And, I mean, that's a whole other thing, too, because many of them were recruited to build, weapons and whatnot. So, but others, that's why at the end of World War II, the Germans were tripping over themselves to surrender to the Americans, not the Russians, of course. And because we treated people with decency and respect, just like with George Washington, his directive against torture was to treat the British who or the Hessians that we had captured, to treat them with respect, because we were fighting not just for the country, but we were fighting for an idea. And that's what the Republicans just don't understand. They have, they drag us down. They don't have the fundamental maturity to grasp this. We're not. That's why Trump, when he's blowing people up in the water, killing people extrajudicially and without due process, this is all that we should all be alarmed, of course. But he thinks that's strong when it's the weakest, babyish, laziest thing that you can do. He's not strong in any sense of the word. He's a weak, wannabe dictator. And that's why I find it so ironic that what did he say? Oh, he said this today. I'm not a king, because, they're nervous. They're nervous about No King's Day. They're nervous that the American people are not taking it. We're not, and we're being smart. This is why we have to be very careful, though, with No King's Day. And in general, moving forward with these, Nazi bastards who are trying to get people to react violently, so they have an excuse to declare the Insurrection Act or whatever, or because we're never going to win with against a military, of course. So we have to win the hearts and minds. You have to be peaceful. To a fault, to where beyond reason, where you think you can't take it anymore. You have to remain peaceful, and that's why it's amazing, and it's so it's great to see what's going on in Portland with everyone in the frog costumes and all different kinds of costumes, to point out how ridiculous these people are. The contrast between the frog costume and the National Guard, or the ICE, I should say, not the National Guard, but the National Guard men and women are pawns in this game, which is sickening. Of course, as somebody who served in the National Guard, I would be pissed off if I got called up to patrol the streets of some other state that doesn't want me. It's disgraceful. And I hope and that's what's so disgusting. What's his name? Greg Abbott, who goes on, he was on Fox News saying that the blue state governors are violating the Constitution. That's why he's sending the National Guard. How dare you? How dare you scumbag. This is why these people have to be put in their place, legally and peacefully. We have to get this country back, and they know it. They know that when we trounce them in the midterms, that they're going to jail. Trump is going to be impeached. His soon-to-be thrice impeached ass. I just hope by that time we find some Republicans who have some integrity. They smell, they see the blood in the water, proverbially, or whatever, and they see the writing on the wall, and they know which way the wind is blowing, and they join. They don't want to go down in history as, on the side of scumbags, sycophants like Mike Johnson, and they want to at least have some integrity, in history's light. Right? But yeah, I just saw this other thing, actually. Where is this? I don't know if you've heard of this guy. His name is what's his name? Robbie Road? Is it Road? Not Roadster. Yeah, Road Steamer. They just arrested him. Hold on a second. I'll show you. They just arrested him in Portland. He's funny. I like this guy. But he goes around.
I've seen plenty of power banks over my 15 years of reviewing tech, but this Ridge...
He goes around in different... he goes to maggot rallies. And they think he's one of them at first. But then, of course, he starts saying, like, Trump is on the Epstein plane and things like that. And he's in Portland now. And he got arrested. I just want to play this. If I can get this. Hold on. Takes me a second. Thank you for bearing with me. Here we go. I'll just... So he's just, in front of the ICE facility.
They're not ready for primetime players. Woo! Demolition.
See? What did he do?
I don't know. What did he do? He's talking?
Look at him. Look at him. Look at this bullshit.
Boo!
What did he do? Nothing.
If you hate brown people and you are a Nazi, come on, Ice, leave Portland. Yeah, why don't you come out with your super soaker? Huh? Oh, here they come. They're not ready for primetime players. Woo! Demolition.
On what charges? On what charges was he dragged off?
He's just talking.
For speaking, exactly. And then this dude with the paintball gun, I guess. He's got point. I got your back. Against all these very scary people in animal costumes. They're pathetic, but this is what, it's good that they are being exposed like that. It's great that you're showing up in giraffe costumes, frog costumes, to show the ridiculousness of what we're dealing with. Oh, he was blocking the entrance? Is that it? Is that the charge, they say? He was blocking the end. He's standing there. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, he's got a case against them now, of course. And all of the lawsuits that are coming out of this time. He's just standing there. He's not blocking any entrance. There's a giant driveway. It's not like there's three of them that had to converge on him and drag him away. It's unreal. But yeah, that's what they call the Hate America rally. It looks more like they hate America. You're not allowed to talk or laugh or make jokes about the dear leader. Oh, I'm very sorry. Your fifis are hurt. This is the fuck your feelings crowd, of course. But yeah, what do we expect from the Republican Party of grifters that have nothing to offer? And maybe, you guys, let me know what you think about what because I always talk about the Democrat Party thing. That thing drives me up a wall. So let me know what you think, because to me it seems like just one of the many examples of Democrats conceding defeat, conceding weakness to the Republican Party. When, if you can't even stand up for your name, how are you supposed to stand up for the American people? And it drives me crazy. Just like in Mike Johnson's statement, the Democrat Party is having a rally, a Hate America rally. There is no Democrat Party. To me, it's just, I don't get it. I don't get why no one points it out. I know, it's like my obsession, but maybe I should stop talking about it, because, no, I won't stop talking about it, because to me, it's just not, I don't know. It's one of the things that drives me crazy about the Democratic Party. I mean, could you imagine if we started calling them the Republican Party everywhere? If our president, if Joe Biden, when he was president, called them Republicans, you just change their names. Read it into the congressional record. Call them up saying, here's the Democrat Party leader when you're in the official business. This is what they do. And Chuck Schumer just goes right up there. Here's the Democrat Party leader, or the Democrat, leader. And no one bats an eye. It's beyond reason to me. So, but anyway, I know we have many other things to discuss or worry about, but that's just one of them. You can't leave anything unanswered, in my opinion. The same thing with Antifa. All during Pam Bondi's that whatever that spectacle was, where she had her burn book going after the Democratic Party. Every time someone had a question for her, she would answer with, what about you? Or what about this? Or what about, right out of the fascist playbook. But she went on about Antifa and, well, what about you, Senator? You're out there protesting with Antifa. Are you part of Antifa? What is it? What would it have taken for Democrats to say, take 5 seconds to say, Antifa is not an organization, it's an idea, and go on to your question? Because the American people won't know this by osmosis. They're being poisoned by lies, by the lies of Trump and the Republican Party, the Republican Party. And you have to meet them. You have to answer every lie. You can't just assume that the American people will know the difference, because they won't, unfortunately. That's why they continue to vote for their own demise. And it drives me up a wall. We have to break through. That's why, honestly, that's why I'm here. That's why Hal Sparks is here. We know that in order to get this country back, we have to have the message. We have to be wherever the American people go to get their message, to get the information. We have to be there with the truth, with the progressive truth. The American experiment is a progressive experiment. And we have to reclaim patriotism. We have to explain this to those who are bamboozled by the corporate media, the mainstream media, the whatever, the legacy media. It's the billionaire mouthpiece media. That's what it is. Wait a second. Where's my... Right? Am I right? I am right. I am right. All right, where were we? I don't know. You can tell me if I'm wrong. We'll talk about it. That's why, oh my God, if Republicans ever brought anything to the table, I think I might faint. Everywhere we go, they have nothing but lies. That's why it's I guess I shouldn't be surprised when I saw that he pardoned George Santos. Of course. This is the natural progression or devolution of a party that is built completely on lies. From, tax cuts pay for themselves to, what was it? They only have a few policies: tax cuts, deregulation, and what was the other one? Yeah, there was 3 things that tax cuts pay for themselves, trickle down. Well, that's basically tax cuts for the rich. And all of that is bullshit. It has been proven, just like with Argentina, them bailing out Argentina, this experiment, another experiment in Republican policies that always come home to roost and failure. Yeah, I guess if you pour billions and billions of dollars into a failed experiment again and again, because this is what happens whenever Republicans get their grips, their bony, greed-centered fingers around the neck of power. They squeeze the life out of anything that any country that has a misfortune of enduring their policies. It always comes home to roost and failure. And then we have to bail them out again, bail ourselves out, right? In America, the Republican Party policies crashed the economy twice in 100 years. And there's always a crisis. That's what happens. They always, end up, we have to throw money at them. This is the crowd that's whining and bitching about how Democrats like throwing money at things. Just throw money at it. Nobody likes money thrown at them more than the filthy fascist Republicans and their failed policies. They're just figuring out ways to separate you from your money, separate that silly, dumb taxpayer money, and funnel it into their pockets. This is what the Republican Party exists to do. And they do it with their lies, their frauds, their scams, their scam artists. And I'm sick of it. Why? I mean, if we're here, going through the news and, unpacking the news of the day, let's say, right? And it's clear as Trader Trump's filthy orange tan line, or whatever that is, that pallor, whatever, that mask of orange that he wears, it's clear as that, as the unnatural hue of his skin, that the Republican Party is lying to the American people, that they have nothing to offer the American people, that no, Antifa is not an organization. There's no girlfriend. Kristi Noem says that she captured the girlfriend of the founder of Antifa. Who? Let's see her. There's no, you got Bonnie. Where's Clyde? There is no girlfriend of the founder. And where do I send my dues, by the way? Because Antifa is patriotism. We should all be Antifa. So, all of the lies that they peddle, from the fact that the No Kings rally is populated by Hamas lovers and whatever else he said. It's ridiculous. Hold on a second. This is Tara Devlin. I'll be right back. Let me see. So, yeah, all right. George Santos is a filthy fascist. And what is so, what I'm not looking forward to is seeing him again out on the street. I thought we had a reprieve for a minute and a half, but he's going to be back. He's going to be back on Cameo. He's going to be back on Twitter, proclaiming himself, vindicated, even though he's not vindicated. He pled guilty. He was supposed to go away for 7 years. He probably would have gotten out earlier if he had good behavior. But now we have to, we're not suffering enough, right? We have to endure that grifter back on our American soil, on our, in our faces. And I hope that nobody hires him, for his cameo, but of course people will. I don't know why. Don't you have any decency? I guess not. Hold on a second. And speaking of, they don't have any decency. Here's another thing. So, as we've been saying for years, and every Republican chest beats the heart of fascism, they're not even hiding it anymore. The young Republicans that aren't that young, as we know, that's one thing that came out this week with the chats of all of these Republicans talking to each other. when they think no one's listening, they say things like, I love Hitler, and they laugh about rape and putting people in ovens, and they can't wait for people to be in ovens and whatnot. I mean, this is sick. And it's not just a one-off. There was, how many, what was it, 28,000 texts? And nowhere in these texts did any of them stand up and be the voice of reason. Well, one of the things they said was, if these ever get out, we're cooked. But none of them said, this is fucked up. What's wrong with us? And if you're a mother or a father or a friend, a relative of one of those people, that would be the shame of my life to have. If one of my nephews, let's say, was speaking like that, I would have to ask myself, where did I go wrong? Where did they learn that this is the way you behave? And where did they learn that, to dehumanize people like that? And it's not just the periphery anymore, of course, of the Republican Party. This is the heart of the Republican Party. These are people, some of whom have actual jobs, shaping policy. I think that I think they resigned, but this is exactly what happened. What was that? A few months ago, right? Where J.D. Vance, where is this? Same thing. J.D. Vance came out and he said that, he's one of the only ones defending the young Republicans who are, they have to, what's the age? I think it's like 18 to 40. Yeah, they're not even, these are not kids. They're not kids, as J.D. Vance loves to dismiss the bad behavior of Republicans as just, kids being kids. Well, I was a kid. I don't know. Well, I'm sure we were all kids. But you can go through my history. You'll never find the N-word. You'll never find praising Hitler. Right? That's not funny. Is that funny? That's funny, right? Rape is funny to them. That's what I mean. These are very sick people. Let me see. Hold on. J.D. Vance. He did this a couple of months ago. If we I know it feels like a lifetime ago. One of these Doge assholes. Remember that? He did the same thing. This Doge, one of these Doge assholes his tweets were brought to light where he was, a racist, caught in the act of being himself, being a Republican. And he, of all the, and this was during when, what's his name, man-child Musk was firing hundreds of thousands of Americans. And of all the hundreds of thousands of Americans, J.D. Vance felt the need to jump in and rescue this Doge asshole that had resigned after his racist social media posts came out, where J.D. Vance said, well, we shouldn't ruin a young man's life. But what about all the lives that the Republicans were ruining by firing, right? Firing these hundreds of thousands of Americans, some of whom were veterans, doing nothing wrong except working in the government that the Republicans hate. The government that the founders fought a revolution to create and entrust to us, that the Republicans hate. They hate that government. They hate democracy. And that's why, they like government fine. They like authoritarian government. They like a government that keeps you in your place. They like a government that where they can, kidnap you, where they could kill you. without trial, without charge or trial. And if you think that this isn't, that they're just going to stop at fishing boats, they're going to extrajudicially kill people who are in fishing boats, I think you got another thing coming. There's nothing more alarming. I mean, the whole thing is alarming, but I have to ask all the time, how much longer are we going to take it? Right? How much longer? Is this going to be acceptable? And when we're talking about these things, we're talking about George Santos, we're talking about Trump, the grifter, and the entire Republican Party lying always, again and again, incessantly lying to the American people. That's the angle that the corporate media should be going with. There is no other question than that. How much longer are you going to lie to us? Do you think we're stupid? Of course, the No Kings rally isn't filled with America haters. It's filled with patriots trying to save this country from somebody who thinks he's a king. And then the day he says, the day before the No Kings rally, where Trader Trump is nervous, he knows that we see him, and we don't like it. He's not getting any more popular by the minute, which he can't stand. But when he says, the day before the No Kings rally, he comes out and says that I'm not a king. Of course I'm not a king. Right before doing the one thing, the one kingly power that the founders entrusted to the president by pardoning George Santos. So he's assuring us he's not a king while turning around and pardoning a guy that nobody was pining for. You're supposed to be, for pardons, you see, this is why when we get our country back, one of the powers of the presidency that needs to be stripped is this power to pardon so indiscriminately. But I guess the founders had a failure of imagination in a lot of ways. They never imagined that, they imagined a king, that someone would want to be king. But I guess they never imagined a party that would be just so vile that an entire party would be so disgusting and so un-American to enable this thing to be a king. And not just, it's not like they're enabling Augustus Caesar, somebody that had some competence, They're enabling a con man who likes to look at swatches and bankrupts every business he ever touched, is a rapist, is a pedophile, is in the Epstein files, is a serial bankrupt, tax-cheating grifter with a multi-level marketing vitamin scam, and a coup who sent a mob of dupes to try to overthrow the country. I can't believe it. That's the end of the Progressive Voices part of the show. Oh, my lordy. I hope there are tapes, and there are, at youtube.com/C for channel /Tarabuster. Thank you for hanging out. Become a patron, patreon.com/Tara Thank you, Charlie from APS Radio News. Check out Charlie's classical channel and oldies channel, APS Radio News. Subscribe, all that stuff. There's so many things to say at the end there. Yeah, it's a lot to talk about, right? Yeah. How's everybody doing? I'm checking in. Right? Wow, that went by fast, that part. But we're still here for another 35 minutes. Hold on. My back is killing me. I'm getting old, guys. I just want to stay and see that day, that great getting up morning. That's going to be a day. We got to hold on to that vision and Put that on your vision board. That great getting up morning. It's going to be awesome. All right, where's this other thing? What was I talking about? The Nazis. The young Republicans, a.k.a. Nazis. And that's why, and I'm sure you saw the pictures of these people, the young Republicans. They're not exactly, the pinnacle of, they don't look like Michelangelo's David or Adonis, right? They look like Leah Delaria. That's for real. When I was on Hal Sparks show earlier, we were going through this. And it's true. They look like, one of them, I should say, looks exactly like Leah Delaria, who is a lesbian comedian. Look, I'm telling you, Google her. Where's my... Hold on a second. Now I can relax a little. You know, I've been sitting in this chair since 8 o'clock in the morning. That's what I'm talking about. That's why it's... please, if you can, become a patron at patreon.com/TaraDevlin and subscribe to my Substack, please, and spread the word. And the YouTubes, the series of tubes called the YouTubes, because, I don't know, it's a lot of work, guys. Not that I'm complaining. I'm not complaining. I'm glad you guys are here. So here's, I'm sure you've seen this everywhere, but look at these people. This guy wants people to burn in ovens. He's titillated by the notion. Now, this is the one who looks like Leah Delaria. Am I wrong? Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you're, as a gay person, I have to say my gaydar kind of goes off when I look at these guys. And it makes me sad because if only the Republicans would get help, then the world would be a better place. This is the result of a sickness, and the whole thing is sick. We're living in a very sick country because it's run by sick people. Now he's gay. Look at him. Not that allegedly, or in my professional gay opinion, that looks very gay. He needs the arms of a big, strong man around him, and I hope he gets them. There's nothing wrong with it. Just go and be yourself. Why are you so hateful? Is that your greatest accomplishment, being born white? This is what Republicans want to drag us back to, because they're very underwhelming people. So if they don't have their privilege, then who will they be? What will they do? What will become of them? They need that head start. Right? Let's go back to Leah. Come on, guy. My guy. William Hendricks. Jesus Christ. This guy, he looks like a Cabbage Patch Kid, this one. And not that I'm, a hot model, but you're asking for it, so-called young Republicans, when you set yourself up as some kind of pinnacle of human existence. Where's the decency? They have none. And I wrote an article for the Political Voices Network titled "Make Shame Great Again," because human beings we're interdependent, and there's a reason that Mother Nature imbued us with the capacity or the ability to feel shame. It makes us better citizens. It helps us live together in community, because when you feel that sense of shame, when you do something that that the community shames you about, it's a way of rectifying or correcting that behavior, and helps us live together and, in decency and respect. But they don't have any respect. This is the problem, it's sad. The world that they want to create is very small. That's why when Republicans go on about small government, they like small government. Yeah, they want government as small as they are. They want to shrink government to the size that they are, small. America, as written, as promised, is too big for them. It's too damn big. They want it, they want to shrink it to their size because it's very confusing to them. They want to make it as small as they are, and because otherwise it's very confusing. It's like they recoil against things that they don't understand instead of trying to keep up. They want to drag us down to their level, and that's what they're trying to do. I mean, Trump, he doesn't understand. That's the other thing that when they write the history of this time, that Trump and this corporate media and the press corps, the White House press corps, how disgraceful it is that no one asks a follow-up question of this absolute con man. Why don't you ask him to explain, I don't know, anything. Tariffs. Ask him to explain, I don't know, what did he say when they said, what does the Declaration of Independence mean to you? It's a statement of love, he went on about. I mean, he's a fucking moron. If a child gave that answer in a social studies class, they'd get a goddamn D, in the very least, a statement of love. They would be, they'd fail the class. The parents would be called up for parent-teacher night. Right? Oh, my Lord. The other thing I wanted to talk about, where is that? Republicans caught in the act of being themselves was, where is it? This is what really got me. I mean, it's so fucked up. I don't know. Something is wrong with my note system here. I write all these notes, and then I can never find them. This is very alarming, but not unexpected. Of course, the Republican representative that was on a Zoom call. Wait, where is it? Come on, man. You probably saw. And it was captured that there's Republican offices received multiple Republican congressional offices received American flags with embedded swastikas. They said it was an optical illusion. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. And there was an investigation into it. And this is from The Guardian. The U.S. Capitol Police investigate a flag, or are investigating a flag, with swastikas in Republican representatives' offices. Trying to find an image of it. It's the American flag with the swastika embedded. Let's see. There it is. Hold on. How's everybody doing? Become a patron, patreon.com/Tara Devlin. Please subscribe to the Substack. It's a ruse. Look at this. That's an optical illusion? So this is from Politico. Samuel Benson writes, several Republican Hill offices received American flags bearing an obscured swastika symbol. Looks pretty not obscure to me. Representative Dave Taylor said that a day after, an image surfaced of one of these flags hanging in his office. Taylor, an Ohio Republican, said in a statement that it was part of an orchestrated campaign where, now they're the victims, of course. It's just professional victimitis. Numerous Republican offices have confirmed that they were targeted by an unidentified group or individual who distributed American flags bearing a similar symbol, which were initially indistinguishable from ordinary American flags to the naked eye. I find this hard to believe, that you can't see the swastika. I guess they say there was some optical illusion on. I don't know. In February, similar flags were delivered to the U.S. Postal Service, to multiple congressional offices. But the Hill aide, granted anonymity to speak openly, said that the flag was an obvious and unusual enough for us to take a photo of it before throwing it out. So it wasn't that, it's not some, one of those things, those old graphics that you would go close up and then pull the picture away, where it would have some 3D images or a dinosaur or something would be popping out. It's kind of obvious. And why you would put that up in your office is a little bit bizarre. Don't they have flags? Don't you have flags in your, it's Congress. But, okay. After a full-scale internal investigation, I am confident that no employee of this office would knowingly display such a despicable image, and the flag in question has been taken down, said the Ohio congressman. Yeah, I don't know. As I have said previously, I unequivocally condemn hate in any form, but you vote for Trump. So I find that hard to believe. You unequivocally condemn hate in any form? But you're a 3-time loser. You voted for the con man 3 times, right? You enable him. You allow him to get away with firing anyone who has darker pigment that stands in his way of the authoritarian coup he's trying to carry out. Everyone in the military, the chain of command, and higher ranking officers and non-commissioned officers, coincidentally being fired are all people of color or women. But so if you condemn hate in every form, then I don't see it in your actions. It's like Republicans claiming to be Christians, and yet, they tell us how Christian they are, but we never see it, of course. And if Jesus came back, they'd crucify him again. These are people that glad hand, slap each other in the back when they strip health care from millions of Americans. And this is the other thing, that's why it's so... The fact that they hate America, they're saying that we hate America, that normal people, patriots, hate America, is beyond reason, because they not only hate America, they're confused by America. And they don't have the best interests of America at heart, as we know, because if they did, they wouldn't have to lie. so incessantly, constantly. Lie about the No King's Day. Lie about, for example, what Zoran Mandami, his entire platform. Oh, he's a Marxist. He's a communist. He, all of the, he's pro-Hamas. He's all this. Just criticize his policies. You don't like what he stands for? You don't like the proposals that he wants to help the people of New York, and I can't wait to vote for him as a New Yorker. If you don't like it, then talk about the policies, right? But they don't. They call him a Marxist. I mean, Trump is such a moron. He actually said that Mandami, what did he say? That he's a communist. And as we know, communism has never worked in thousands of years. Or no, he said Marxism. Marxism has never worked wherever it's tried in thousands of years. It's never worked, even though Marxism is probably around the same age as Trump. Maybe a little older. Unreal. Wait. I'm trying to fucking type here. So, you know what I mean? So this is what we're dealing with. They don't meet us or anybody squarely and fairly on the field of ideas. And this is what the Democrats do the same. I'm not talking about lying about the Republicans. They don't. I'm saying that the Democrats are the ones that actually criticize the policies of the Republicans. They are honest about Republican policies. They say this is what's in Project 2025. This is what they're gonna do. Like when Harris was running for the presidency, she said that if Trump gets elected, he's going to send troops. He's going to send National Guard troops into blue states. And then of course, Fox News fascists went off about how, oh, she's lying again. She's lying about the dear leader. Of course, it's another prophecy. Just like when Hillary Clinton said that Trump, Putin wants Trump because he wants a puppet. And here we are. Trump is basically Putin's bitch. Not basically, he's openly and willingly. Right? Am I wrong? How's it going in the chat here? Karen says, I used to watch Midas, but they have too many commercials. I hear some complaints about the commercials on this channel, but I have to say that I have the commercials set to conservative, and we don't have that means not conservative commercials, but that they will play fewer commercials. But that's YouTube. That's what they do. They're trying to harass you into buying a premium subscription. So some people complain about the commercials. I wish I could turn them off for you completely, but you can't. Yeah. I would. Why not? I mean, because it doesn't. What you get as a content creator from the commercials at this level is nothing, really. So you'd get more from people joining the memberships and whatnot. I guess you could become a member. Maybe that'll stop the commercials for this channel at least. But yeah, and this is what we're dealing with. Where's this other thing? Hold on. Thank you for hanging out tonight. If you can, come back every week. And tomorrow's No King's Day. I hope everyone has their plan in place. It's going to be epic. Oh, look at that. Is that true? The Brave browser has no interruptions at all. That's good. I didn't know that. Bruceless? I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm probably butchering your name. Yeah, where is this other thing? Damn it. What time is it? It's been a long day for me, I have to tell you. It's been a long day. And while I'm fumbling around with my buttons, that's what she said. Please, if you can, not just become a patron to my Substack, but there's another great Substack that you should follow. It's called Banner and Backbone. In case, if you haven't heard of it, they are hosting the Anti-Fascist Book Club. So I was on that. I've been asked to be a guest on there, it's been great. And we've been discussing for the past couple of weeks. And moving forward, there'll be other books. But the book we're discussing now is Timothy Snyder's On Tyranny, which I believe is required reading at this point. And it's terrifying. You know, I read that book when it first came out, On Tyranny, and we weren't quite at this level, of course, because this maladministration truly is them going for it. It's Hitler in the chancellery trying to destroy the Weimar Republic. One good thing is that even though the blitzkrieg is fast, of course, and well, that's the word, blitzkrieg, but that they've done a lot of damage in a short period of time, and that's by design. They're trying to overthrow our institutions, and they've been quite successful in many ways, but they haven't been successful in popularity. And one of the things is that when an authoritarian takes over, there's a lot of popularity with authoritarian rule. Initially, there's success. That's what happened with Hitler. A lot of people turned a blind eye because Hitler did put people back to work. Wait, hold on. I'm just reading the chat a little. You know, he built the Autobahn. Unemployment was a big problem before. And then, of course, Hitler put people to work, purging the universities, disappearing Jews in the middle of the night, opened up a lot of opportunities for the people left behind. They took those jobs. And that's there was an initial success to the Third Reich, and then of course when they started invading other countries, it was almost as if Hitler had the magic touch in a way. You know, he rolled over in Poland, first marched into Austria. They annexed the Sudetenland, without firing a shot. And then when the war began, the initial successes of the Blitzkrieg, it was as if he was unbeatable, you know? And so there was a popularity level involved with with American people, I was going to say, with the German people. But we don't have that here. Trump is not only is he not popular, and I do believe he would be popular if he was successful. He's not successful. He has never been successful. Even the first maladministration, he had some guardrails at the time. I mean, now we look back and we realize that, yeah, some of these people that were in office with him were actually keeping him in line. They weren't carrying out his horrible orders. But now we don't have that. We have Stephen Miller in control. while Trader Trump is looking at swatches as he does. But there's no honeymoon period here. There's only the bad things, and that it's a little different, of course, with what happened in Nazi Germany, because we are getting the media, right? Everybody has a phone. Everyone has a high definition camera in their pocket. We're getting the images of how ridiculous these the ICE assault on blue states really is, and of course the abomination of how the assaults on our constitutional rights. So and I know that a lot of the maggots, they love that. They like seeing people being abused. Shame on them, but that's the truth. But they're upset because the price of eggs has not come down. In fact, it's gotten worse. Everything has gotten worse. Inflation is up. Unemployment is up. They're firing people without, any kind of consideration at all. Of course, health insurance. If health insurance, millions of Americans are going to be kicked off their health insurance. These scumbags, because of these scumbag Republicans. But so there's no upside at this point. That's why when that lady called Mike Johnson, and I did a little video about this too. What really gets me is that, what are you voting Republican for? She's like, I'm a Republican. My husband's in the service. He's got PTSD from his tours in Afghanistan. What are you doing voting Republican, lady? How much do you have to hate yourself, to vote for a party that continuously treats you like a dupe? Because this is the thing. As we talk about on the show all the time, we're the people trying, just like we're the ones carrying the mantle of the founders. We're the ones carrying the mantle of the American Revolution, trying to extend the franchise of democracy to everyone. We're the ones, we're the true patriots here, But we're also the ones trying to ensure that that lady that called up Mike Johnson when he was on C-SPAN, that she doesn't have to suffer like that her kids, who she says are going to die without their medicine or whatnot, that her kids, that she wouldn't have to stress out about it, that she can go to a doctor, that her kids can get their goddamn medicine, that her husband can get the help he needs, and that he won't be sent to police the streets of America as some kind of sucker and loser, as Trump calls the people who serve, or send him away from his family because he's a plaything. He's just a toy for this baboon, this draft-dodging, bone-spur baboon. No offense to baboons, to play around with. And in the world that progressives are trying to build, that woman wouldn't be stressed out. She'd be able to just be enjoying her life to the best of her ability. But this is what Republicans have for us, for the entire country, because it's not enough for them to have the country being, with the widest income gap. When they see that America, from the time of Reagan, went from the most to the least upwardly mobile, with the slightest income gap to the widest income gap, they call that a good start. That's the point of Reaganomics. Because Republicans conservatism in a nutshell is a fundamentally undemocratic ideology. It's always been about who's going to rule, who the right people, quote unquote, ruling. And they don't like democracy. They just don't like, sharing with anybody else but themselves. They want it all. And, they're just not going to be satisfied until we're, we have no ability to do anything about the abuses they inflict on us. That's the problem. Wait, hold on a second. We only got like 5 minutes. My lordy. And speaking of, let's just go to the Reddit page that I like to spend my time on every now and then. Since we only have about 5 minutes left in the show, and I want to thank you for hanging out every Friday here at the Tarabuster YouTube channel, youtube.com/C for channel/Tarabuster. And we are, here, like I say, every Friday. But there will be more shows, guys. Can you believe it? There will be some more Tarabusters during the week on the Political Voices Network in a few weeks. I just got to get some rest first. I'm not kidding. I'm tired. Well, I'll sleep when I'm dead, as I always say. You can't stop now, We're in the middle of a crisis. So yeah, like I like going on Reddit, the leopards eating my face Reddit page, but to check in on the maggots. And sometimes I'll go to the conservative Reddit page to see how the maggots are talking to each other. But yeah, to be clear, we will not comply with Gavin Newsom's unconstitutional mask ban. How is it unconstitutional? What's unconstitutional is goons in masks pulling you off the street. Yeah, this is a series that's on the Reddit page, Leopards Eating My Face. How it started, how it's going. Here's one guy. Voted already for Trump. I'm not stupid. Then he writes, we, the American people that voted for you, are struggling! Exclamation point. Exclamation point. Prices of groceries, gas, and cuts in small businesses is killing us literally. We need something major to happen quickly for us. We don't care so much about the world affairs. We need help now, you dumb bastard. And this is the problem. Like the lady who called Mike Johnson to complain, like he gives a shit, right? Did he do anything? Has he done anything? They will rather blame the Democrats. Oh, this is the Democrat shutdown, they say. The Democrat he said that, what did he say? That he's got no strategy. They asked him, what's your strategy for opening the government? He's got no strategy. It's up to the Democrat Party, They have nothing. Well, what are the Democrats fighting for? Health insurance, subsidies so people can afford their insurance, which shouldn't even be a thing in this country. This is the only country in the modern world, especially, on Earth, I think, where we might be with another one country that doesn't guarantee health care as a right of citizenship. And it's sickening. We shouldn't have to live like this. But part of the problem, the reason that we don't have universal health care is because of divisive racist policies. And Republicans don't want to, have us a community spirit. We are in this together. This is part of what we have to fix when we get this country back, that enough with the selfishness. It doesn't work. It's not conducive to a successful society. And either, we hang together or we hang separately, as Ben Franklin said. Oh, my lordy. Guys, that's the end of the show. Well, I just have one more thing to say. I got something to say. Hold on a second, guys. Check out Charlie's APS Radio News. If you need a break from politics for a minute and a half, you can listen to classical music at his classical channel and oldies channel. There's a classical channel, and then there's an oldies channel. 2 different channels. Oldies and, classic rock. And if you can become a patron, patreon.com/TaraDevlin. Thank you for your support all the time. Thank you, Hal. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Sparklers, for hanging out. All right, we will win. I just wanted to show you one more thing. Actually, I forgot, and I don't want to end the show without pointing this out. Here it is. Where is it? How do I open this? Okay, wait, I'm trying to open this. Okay, there we go. It's this thing. I grabbed this image from the ABC News site. It really irritated me. That's why I want to point it out. I'm sorry I didn't pick this up sooner. I forgot about it. Hold on. So, okay, let me just read this. And it goes along the lines of what we're talking about with healthcare. Chrissy Meehan, actually know a very good friend by the name of Meehan, a hairstylist in Upper Chester, Pennsylvania, has a neck condition that may require surgery. She says if the ACA subsidies expires, she'll further delay the procedure. The 51-year-old voted for Republican Donald Trump for president last year, something she said she's almost embarrassed about. Well, almost? Now that the Republican-led government hasn't renewed the subsidies that help her afford her coverage through the state marketplace. I work hard, and I'm trying to survive, and I do it the right way, she says. I don't want free. I want affordable for my income. Health policy analysts note that even if the subsidies are extended, insurance rates for 2026 are already higher because insurers had to factor in their potential expiration when they set premium prices earlier this year, which is why we shouldn't have health care as for profit. It should be a right of citizenship, not a privilege of wealth. But okay, there are also concerns that the delay will cause chaos and confusion and stress for Americans. Too late, it already has. Some of whom have already started receiving these notices that their premiums will skyrocket next year. Once those people say, oh wait, forget it, I'm out, it's going to be hard to get a lot of them back in, said the Urban Institute's whatever, okay? And yes, but this is what Republicans want. Could you imagine being them? I don't understand how they look at themselves in the mirror knowing that they are deliberately passing policies that are enriching people that have more money that they will never spend it in 100 lifetimes, but also kicking their constituents off the very minimal health care they already have. It's disgusting. But what the reason I grabbed this article is because not just because it's another example of a leopard eating somebody's face, but the way that she talks about the fact that she wants health care is an example of the Stockholm syndrome that the Republicans have poured or have inflicted on the people dumb enough to vote for them. You know, it's the Stockholm syndrome that have developed over years and years of listening to this incessant right-wing propaganda, this kiss up, kick down, I got mine, sucks to be you propaganda. She says, I work hard and I'm trying to survive and I do it the right way. I pay my way. I don't want free. I just want affordable for my income. Why do we need that qualifier? I do it the right way. I don't want free. I just want affordable. because she's apologizing for not having health care or needing health care, needing the subsidies, needing taxpayer-funded subsidies to pay her health insurance. And you just don't, how's it going to be affordable if you without the subsidies? There's a disconnect there. It's and you shouldn't have to apologize for wanting what the entire effing world has as a right of citizenship, and knowing that that you don't have it is because of the policies, and it's because you're being screwed. And you shouldn't have to apologize for it and say, I don't want free. I'm a good one. I'm a good deserving poor. I work. I'm not like those others who are taking advantage. This is the message here that I'm sick of. Most people are working. And if there are, because Republicans always have to argue by anecdote, because that is the weakest form of argument. And they point to somebody, they had this one surfer guy who liked to smoke pot all day. He became like a minor celebrity on Fox News. They were always checking in with him, and is he taking advantage now? He was on food stamps and all these other social assistance programs. And they held him up as the reason why everyone else should have we should all have the program scrapped, because this one fucking dude is taking advantage. And if there's one person, of course, but they have nothing to say about the people like Elon Musk or Zuckerberg or Bezos, who pays zero taxes, or the fact that Trader Trump, for the 10 years of taxes that we know that we have, thanks to Mary Trump and the discovery in the lawsuit that she had to sue her uncle because he was trying to screw her out of her inheritance because he's a piece of dirt. And it's never enough for him, But they never complain about the fact that Trader Trump paid no taxes. That, in fact, for the 10 years of the taxes that we know of, that we have from this pedo in the Epstein files, this scum, that he was the biggest loser. That he, in fact, declared more losses than every other American taxpayer. Every American that filed for that 10 years, Trump declared more losses, over $1 billion more in losses than every other American taxpayer. That's what he is. He's a dirtbag, a parasite, a taker. One year he paid $750 in federal taxes because he, the scam, the losses, everything is a loss. He's a loser. And this woman who, she's going to get, she just wants health care. But she has to tell everybody. She got to remind her benefactors, her betters in the ivory tower who are voting for her demise, the people that she keeps voting for, she keeps sending back to Congress to continue to slit her own throat. They tell her that basically she's slitting her own throat, and the Republicans are charging her a rental fee for the knife at this point. But she's a good one. She's not one of these others taking advantage. I am so sick of the Stockholm Syndrome and people who continuously vote for their own demise. And, of course, ABC News is not going to point out the fact that she keeps voting for her own demise. What the fuck is going on? I was telling Hal earlier. What the fuck is going on? I was telling Hal earlier that I need a new computer. Did my computer freeze for the last 5 minutes on that whole rant? Let me see. All right. Yes. I think all right, maybe not too long. 5 minutes on. Did it freeze a lot? How long? It froze? No. It paused. Just a second. Oh, okay. But it didn't freeze for a long time. All right. Not bad. All right. Only a minute. I hope, yeah. I don't know. I'm glad I didn't. I was just about to shut the computer down. All right. Oh, no, look at this. Something just screwed up. I just got another alert that goes off when the show restarts. So I guess we lost the stream there for a second. All right. Anyway, well, you get the point. The point is, I'm sick of these people who, it's the enabling. We have to stop enabling this. We will not enable them here, of course. We will point out that they're suffering from Stockholm syndrome, and we will shame them, but in a loving and caring way, because before the truth sets you free, you might get ashamed. It might piss you off, right? But we have to point out to our fellow Americans just how much they are screwing themselves and the rest of us. I'm sick of them. Let's remember that that Trump does not have a mandate, of course. Trump won by the slimmest margin, of course. He did not win the popular vote. I don't care how much he says it. The fact is, more people voted against him. He received less than 50% of the vote. More people voted for Harris or a third party than for the con man. And he won by a very small margin. 33%. So what was it? 66% of the voting public came out on election day. 33 and a slightly larger margin, 33%, and a little bit and a smidge percent more voted for Trader Trump, and 33% and a little less voted for Harris. So it was a squeaker. He does not have a mandate. I don't care how much he goes on. He's not popular. He's even losing the maggots. And all the maggots are going to suffer more under his policies. They already are. The opportunity for us into this cauldron, this devil's brew of Republican failure, our charge is to pull these people out of their stupor, to explain to them that they're their own worst enemy. They're our worst enemy. They're voting for America's demise, and, shame on them. But there is hope. Stop being a sucker. Being a right-wing dupe is a terrible way to go through your limited lifespan. All right, guys, listen. Thank you for hanging out tonight. And I appreciate everything you guys do. If you can, become a patron. There's many ways you can support the show. For free, you can support by becoming a Substack member. If you don't have to pay a subscription, you could be a free member. But if you got it like that, it would be great if you could become a paid member. And thank you. Oh, thank you. Pearl Wise says, great show, Tara. I came with Hal's raid and switched to your stream when it froze. I'll be back next time. Thank you, my friend. I'm so glad you're here. And yes, exactly. Susie Jones says 1.46% more than Kamala. And it's such a tragedy because the 6 million voters, there were 6 million Biden voters that stayed home on election day. If they had not stayed home, they should be ashamed. But because if they had not stayed home, we would not be fighting fascism tomorrow. We could have a nice Saturday, with our friends and family, like our ancestors who gave their last full measure of devotion to our country. That they were hoping, they didn't die, leave their last full measure of devotion on the battlefield because they were hoping we'd have to do the same. No, they did they sacrificed, so hoping that we would be able to have a nice Saturday. You know, hang out with our friends, our family, our pets. Save some animals or something, you know? But no. Now we gotta fight fascism on a Saturday. And every day. There is no day off. There is no day off in fascism. That is for sure. For real. All right, my guys, my friends. So you can support the show. Become a patron, patreon.com/TaraDevlin. Support the Substack. You could become a paid member if you got it like that. And also you can join the YouTubes, the series of tubes, the YouTube channel. Thank you. Oh, and I'm so sorry, guys. I missed your super chats. Thank you, Robin, for your super chat. Buster Sparkler's in the house. Nice to see you, Robin. Thank you for your $5. And thank you, 56 Nick Rich, for your super chat. A gallon of gas, a coffee, a smile. Thank you. And thank you, JD Christie, for your super chat. Excuse me. Sempre antifascista. Exactly. I got to get better at pronunciation. And I love your little Ray emojis. Thank you for being a member of the channel. That's amazing. I got to make some more emojis. I got to get the whole family in here. I got to get Spooky in here too. Little Spooky, the I was going to say community cat. No, he's the community guinea pig. And thank you, Teresa. Teresa says, thank you for my weekly dose of Tara. No kings, no tyrants. Yes. Thank you. For real. For real. All right. Let me see what's going on with the Substack. Come on, guys. Let's go. Let me see. What do we got here?
Fox News.
Ooh, that's my voice. I hear my voice. I just want to see. Oh, come on. I got 998 subscribers on Substack. Can we make it 1,000 before the show ends? That would be nice. And I mean, you don't have to, there's everybody's pulling you in a million directions. I understand. I'm being pulled too. So I get it. But if you're rich, you could become a paid subscriber. That would help. And if you're not rich, become a free subscriber. I hate e-begging. I hate it. I'm putting this is the Substack. It would be great. I wonder what happens. I don't know, whatever. I don't understand. I need 2 more to make 1,000. All right, it doesn't matter. I want 10,000, 500,000. It's not just about me. It's about getting our word out, and that's the truth. This is what the maggots have known for years, that we, wherever they go, wherever the American people go, they wanted them to encounter our, their message, I should say. So, yes, and they were smart. Okay, we're getting there. It'll be fine. All right, I gotta go to bed. Listen to me. I can't even talk anymore. Thank you, my friends. It's just hard to hang up. And thank you, Janelle Walker. Thank you. I subscribed 8 months ago. Thank you. You were like probably the first one. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Really. I can't, I really just, it touches me to hear that. Thank you so much. And I want, what can I do for you? That's what I have to think about here. What can I do for the peeps? I need, you know what? This is the thing. This is my dream. Let me share my dreams. All right, before I go. Not just the ones where I'm naked and I'm falling and my teeth are flying out of my skull. The dreams of having enough followers, subscribers, and all that, where I can get some help up in this bitch. You know, like Hal has people helping him, like Andrea, who's amazing. And then I can, you know, get some sleep every now and then. But also, you know, we can, it will be better for the viewer because it'll be a better viewer experience. And then we can, you know, get merch going and get some prizes and shit. You know what I mean? This is just, that's why it's tough. I need some producers that are not cats. Even though the cats are great producers, but, you know. All right, guys. Oh, yes, and Twisted Nerves Painting. Oh, I'll do this next show, too. I'm sorry, this is very late. Twisted Nerves Painting has his own channel. Let's talk about, you know, a great channel. It's a different type of channel, but it's like a Bob Ross channel, but it's very therapeutic. He's very talented. And so please subscribe to Twisted Nerves Painting on YouTube. And Twisted Nerves Painting is running a fundraiser. I have to get I'll get the link together and post it on my Substack and everywhere else. Okay, Twisted Nerves Painting, I swear. So you could get your equipment to make your show. I guess that's what you're doing, right? Getting some camera equipment and whatnot. So we stick together, we win, and this is how we roll. All right, thank you, Michael McAndrews, for your super chat. Yes, these dreams go on when I close my eyes. All right, guys, you better get some rest for No Kings tomorrow. No Kings, no effing way, especially that king. You know, they don't even have a good king. They don't even have Augustus. They went right to Nero. For fuck's sake. God. All right, my friends. My name is Tara Devlin. Remember, we will win. We will win. We will. Why? Why, you say? Because we're on the right side of history. We're on the right side of decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. Thank you so much for hanging out. We stick together, we win. My name is Tara Devlin, and I will see you soon.